come here because you think, or maybe you've realized counting calories is a pretty viable option in order to lose weight, in which case you're right. In today's video, I'm going to break down exactly why, how, as well as tips, strategies to help you do exactly that. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy John Mango. I'm here and I'm representing Beyond the Iron, where I'm looking to take your fitness and your nutrition further so you may change your life forever. Now keep in mind, you're not going to change your life at all if all you're doing is sitting around listening and watching videos. You actually have to execute. You have to apply either my advice, somebody else's, something in order for you to actually take your fitness and your nutrition further. So keep that in mind. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. I like to drop lots of tips, tricks, strategies, nutrition, all fitness related stuff right here to help you get to your goals faster and more enjoyably. So if that's something that you're interested in, which I have no idea why it wouldn't be, then by all means consider subscribing. If you've been following me for a little while now, you'll know that my favorite and basically the method I preach the most in order to lose body fat, lose weight, and even gain muscle, in other words, manipulate your body composition in any way, is to track calories, and in this case specifically, track into a caloric deficit. And honestly, you're probably annoyed of hearing me say this over and over again by now, in which case, thank you for bearing with me. Appreciate you, buds. So again, just to jump right into the content, I'm going to be talking about why, how, and things to consider. So that's how I'm going to break this video down. First and foremost, let's talk about why you want to track calories, okay? And I've made plenty of videos on this in the past, and I've also dropped studies just to reference and back up what I'm saying, in case for some reason somebody out there does not still yet believe in the fact that calories in versus calories out is the fundamental way to lose weight. So if you don't believe in that, just in case you're not convinced just yet, after me probably repeating it another million times in this video, I'm going to drop studies linked down at the bottom of the description. So if you want to read further into this and see if I am full of shit, then by all means check those studies out below. But then again, why would I take my time to make videos like this unless I knew what I was talking about? Anyways, before I come off a little bit too douchey, unless that's too late by now, let's go ahead and talk about why counting calories works and why it is the most viable way for you to lose fat. Well, this one is very simple. It is not just a viable way to lose fat. It is actually the only way to lose fat. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about keto? What about intermittent fasting? What about this diet, that diet? No, what I'm trying to say here is this. Those are all tools and methods by which you actually achieve a caloric deficit. So in other words, all these fat diets, all these programs, all these nutrition, supplement, whatever programs, they are all designed to get you into a negative calorie balance, okay? Negative energy balance, essentially. So intermittent fasting, all those things, some of them are good, some of them not so good, but regardless, they're all aiming to do exactly that. Less calories than you're burning. All of those tools that are out there will never be as technical as tracking your calories, which of course is why they are appealing to most people. However, understand it like this. You got point A, you got point B, okay? Now, if I gave you all these different ways, I give you a straight line from point A to point B, then I give you a bit of a squiggly line, then I give you a line that goes probably backwards, and all these different ways to get there, which way are you going to choose? Well, you're gonna look at the lines and say, obviously I wanna go point A to point B the fastest, at least I would hope so. If that's the case, tracking calories, counting calories is the straight line from point A to point B, because there's no BS, there's no fluff. It is simply just hard, cold facts, okay? It is math at the end of the day, math and science. So if you're not moving towards point B, you simply drop calories and you'll keep moving there. There is going to be some time that needs to be taken in order to customize and figure out what calories you need specifically, depending on goals and all that stuff. But besides that, this is the fastest way to get to your goals. Now, I just want to quickly touch on also some benefits here. I'll go ahead and list them as I talk about them. One of the major benefits of counting calories is flexibility. I am the self-proclaimed flexible dieting king, but then again, I guess a lot of people are. On top of that, of course, you have the most accuracy and the most control over your diet. When you're counting calories, you can manipulate to the smallest degree, to the most technical level, exactly what's going on with your nutrition, and therefore exactly what's going to happen to your body. And with that being said, with the flexibility and the accuracy, you overall will have more control of your diet as a whole, and you can manipulate it that much more, which also brings it down to simplicity, as opposed to these complicated programs where you're following 30 different phases in 29 days each phase and all this different stuff and cut down to this many carbs. And besides doing all that, if you simply start by tracking, you can then manipulate, and it's very, very simple. You can literally eat the same thing every day if you'd like, so long as calories and macros are being adjusted accordingly for you to keep seeing the progress you want. Now, of course, programs are a great tool to jumpstart you into getting into that calorie deficit, but there's gonna come a time where if you wanna take your body to that next level, counting calories will always, in the long term, be the best way to go. All right, so hopefully now you understand why tracking calories is a great and yes, very viable option to lose fat. Now let's go ahead and talk about how, and get ready for a couple of plugs here, because I already went through the trouble of making tons of resources, videos, ebooks to help you guys out with this. So if you want to check those out, I'll link the videos that I'm about to talk about up here, and as well as an ebook down below, which you can also find on those videos. And now, talking about how to track calories, it's very simple. It is 2018 at the time of recording this video, and we have these smartphones, of course. Everybody has one. You are able to download for free. There's many different tracking applications, but essentially the one that I endorse, the one that I promote, the one that I've been using for many, many years and get my clients, friends, and family to use is MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal, again, it's free. You don't need the paid version. And one thing I do want to say is I went through the trouble already of creating an entire ultimate guide video that you can go ahead and watch if you click right here in the top corner. There's also going to be a link to the ebook that I wrote specifically on MyFitnessPal. It gives you all insights, tips, tricks, strategies, how to basically use this tool to maximize your calorie counting skill and therefore manipulate your nutrition for literally years and years to come. Now, one thing I do want to mention as well is I went through the trouble of creating another video that's going to give you a starting point as to how to figure out how many calories you need. You can go ahead and click here right now and you'll see that video. So basically you want to find out your maintenance calories, meaning how many calories you need to simply maintain your body weight, because from there, once you've got an accurate number for that, you can then begin manipulating and tailoring it towards your goals. In this case, weight loss, and it's going to explain in that video exactly how to do that, but essentially you want to cut down into a deficit. Watch the video for a little bit more detail about that, but definitely a good starting point, a couple good tools for you there. Also, another thing to keep in mind, people always think, well, counting calories is so boring, so tedious, and I don't have the time for it. That is nothing but BS. If you are somebody saying that you don't have time to track your calories, you're giving me a wasteful excuse and I don't want to hear it, all right? Sorry for that little rant there. As you can see, I'm getting a little heated. Watch this. I'm in MyFitnessPal. It's opening up, okay? It opened up. What do I want? I'm gonna have some oatmeal. Click the scanner. Look at this. So I click the scanner just like that. I scan something, type a couple numbers in, done. How long did that take? That took approximately 20 seconds, okay? How many meals do you have a day? 5, 6, 7, even if you have 10 meals a day, that's 20 seconds times, that's just over a minute and a half of your time, 3 minutes, whatever, even if it's 5 minutes. Again, straight line, point A to point B, which way are you gonna choose? Don't make any excuses. It is not time consuming at all. As a matter of fact, doing this will save you time, save you stress, and make you gains. Perfect, let's go ahead and talk about tips. I'm trying to keep this video a little bit shorter than my typical video. I know that they do get a little long. I like to talk a lot, like to hear the sound of my own voice apparently. So let's cut to the chase with some tips that will help you out when it comes to counting calories to lose weight. First tip is be as accurate as possible. Humans are notorious for either not tracking or simply tracking inaccurately by typically overshooting calories, okay? So one thing I recommend is if you're gonna start tracking calories, again, which you should, hopefully after this video, buy and invest in a kitchen scale. That way you can actually weigh out your foods and get very, very precise measurements. Now, it's likely not gonna be 100% accurate 100% of the time, but as accurate as possible is always better, because there's gonna be a lot of people out there that tell you, well, I was tracking my calories and it didn't work for me. Unfortunately, that is simply false and implies not only that science is incorrect, but also the fact that you are not human. If you're an alien, then yes, you can argue against this point, but if you're a human being, then you have no argument. This is the only way to lose fat. And in which case, if you've been tracking your calories and you haven't seen a difference, you simply just aren't tracking right. You're missing something. Something is falling through the cracks. Please keep that in mind. Readjust, buy a scale, get accurate, get consistent, and get some damn results. Another quick tip is the saving calories method. So again, now you're gonna have more control over your diet, more data input, more data to work with here to understand better how your eating habits are, what your nutrition's like. Also, a benefit of this is the fact that you can do what I call the saving calories method, in which case, as the name implies, you are saving calories for later. So this is how you're able to maintain a social life while counting calories, because if you know that you're going out later with the boys, you're going to the restaurant with some of the girls later, whatever the case is, whatever you guys like to do, you can save calories by simply cutting out a meal or 2 meals before that day, saving up those calories in MyFitnessPal. Therefore, when you go out, chances of you doing some serious damage are much lower or minimized completely. Just another tip to further reinforce my point earlier about how simple and not time consuming this is by inputting and tracking everything beforehand. Now, this is something obviously that you're not going to be able to do the first week or so of tracking, but once you start doing this for a couple of weeks, your MyFitnessPal actually stores a database of the typical foods that you eat. In which case, you wake up today, you know you're gonna just eat what you usually eat, perfect. Take the 5 minutes of your day in the morning, input everything right then and there, and this is actually gonna help keep you accountable, which is going to increase your chance of sticking to your diet for that day. This one, guys, is a huge tip. Last couple tips here. This one I'm talking about consistency. It should be pretty self-explanatory at this point, but if you start tracking for a week, that's fine. Everybody tracks for a week, everybody tracks for 2 weeks, but few keep tracking over time. I've been tracking for 4, 5, 6 years now, and I got some game. But seriously, tracking consistently over time, even though day to day sometimes you may not see the result that you want, you have to stick to it, because obviously nothing is overnight, and you have to make sure you give these things enough time to work. Another tip here is flexibility. Like I mentioned earlier, just want to dive a little bit more into that. What I mean by that is that yes, if you are in a calorie deficit, a true calorie deficit from tracking accurately and using all those other tips, you can technically eat that donut if you want it. You can have that fruit if you want it, but maybe you can only have half the donut. Maybe you can only have 2 Timbits instead of 10. But the point is here is that you have the flexibility to pick and choose when and how you're going to eat the foods that you want to eat in the scenarios you want. So you don't have to go out, be boring, and speak to the waiter for 10 minutes talking about how you can't have gluten, you can't have carbs. If you could just remove that of it, you don't need to do that. Instead, you can enjoy the meals that you like to enjoy, the ones that are on the menu, the things that don't make you seem like a neurotic person that's trying to lose that extra 10 pounds, but yet you're not competing, and whatever the case is, you're on a strict diet. Listen, this is going to help you with your flexibility, and in turn, that's going to help you with your adherence, sticking to the program, sticking to the protocol, and sticking to your goals. So make sure you're consistent, but also keep flexible by using those methods I mentioned earlier, and this ultimately leads to higher quality of life. If you can still include the foods that you like to eat while making progress, it makes eating those foods that much more rewarding, even though you have to limit them somehow. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the whole point here. And to cap it off, we're going to talk about trial and error. So regardless, as easy as I may make it sound, I apologize for that, because no, it's not going to be easy. But again, it is the straight line from point A to point B. There's always a straight line, point A to point B. However, it's still lots of work, consistency, but trial and error always plays a role. And in this case, it might mean, look, you might fall off here and there. We're all human at the end of the day. If you fall off, it's not a big deal. Just get back to tracking as soon as you can. Maybe consciously you said, you know what, I fell off. I'm not going to track the rest of the day or the next 2 days or the weekend. That's fine. So long as you get back to it, get back on the horse, constantly figure out how to implement these methods, how to make it work for your lifestyle, and build it around your lifestyle. And eventually you're going to find out exactly the best methods that work for you. Maybe it's inputting in the morning, maybe it's inputting as you go. The point is the consistency over time, and just the trial and error is bound to happen. You're going to have to figure out the best way for you to input, the best way for you to stick to doing this so that you can see those results eventually. Anyway, guys, that is all I've got for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I know I typically give you a little hook at the beginning to stay until the end. Well, I don't have one today because I just totally forgot, to be completely honest. But if you stayed until this point of the video, go ahead and comment Mangains. That's my last name mixed with Gains. In other words, my real name. Go ahead and comment that below and I'll know that you stuck around until this point, in which case I'll probably give you 20 of these emojis because I am thankful for you and I appreciate you just a little bit more. But regardless, I appreciate everybody watching, all the support as always. Please leave me a comment below, any thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, or a topic that you'd like to see in the next video, all right? And last but not least, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if you're a loser. I'm just kidding, dislike it, but give me some just kidding. Just like it. Don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe for weekly fitness content coming right here to this channel. Again, I appreciate you watching as always. Thank you so much for the support and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. I'm out.